Welcome to Mouth Dancing with your host Young. I've been thinking about butts lately, and I was wondering if they count as genitalia. So I looked up their definition online in the dictionary. Actually, I looked up the definition of genitalia, not butts. But genitalia are male or female reproductive organs. So I guess a butt is not genitalia, because it's not a reproductive organ. It's like your gluteus muscles, and then, whatever other muscles are back there, and then your butthole. I don't know if your butthole counts as part of your butt or not. Or if your butt is just the two cheeks. But there seems to be a lot of prudishness about butts. Like, you can't really show a naked butt on TV unless it's a rated R movie or TV show. And you can't really show your butt in public. Probably get arrested for that. That's probably considered, lewd conduct. But I wonder why that is, because I guess the same thing goes for female breasts. They're not reproductive organs, they're not genitalia, so why is there all this prudishness about it? Why can't you show that stuff in public? I guess they're considered private parts, and displaying them is considered obscene. Kind of don't understand that, though. Is it just in America where it's like that, where people are very sort of evangelical? And there's that Puritan influence. But I mean, people do find ways to show them off, I guess, by wearing revealing clothing or tight clothing. And I guess you could get away with it as long as there's a layer of clothing over it. Even if you could basically see exactly what it looks like. Just that it has like a thin layer of fabric over it. But you could still see the shape of it. Pretty much the exact shape of it if the pants are tight enough, or if the top is revealing enough. But even like a lot of the reproductive organs are inside of your body, or they're I guess with a man they're mostly outside of the body, but like a woman's reproductive organs are pretty much all inside. So even if she shows her, her vagina, you're not really seeing any of her reproductive organs, are you? Because they're all inside? So why is that considered lewd, too? I can kind of understand with a penis and testicles. Also, they're kind of weird looking. I guess genitals in general are kind of weird looking, right? There's that expression, bumping uglies. I don't know, some people might say they're beautiful, depending on who you ask. But even like a man's genitals, they're inside of like his testes, and all the tubes and stuff like that are inside of his scrotum sac. So you can't really see them. You could see the outside scrotum part, but you can't really see the actual, reproductive organs, unless the whole scrotum counts as part of it. I'm not sure about that. And even the penis technically is just sort of the vessel that the stuff is in, right? The urethra. I wonder why it's called the urethra, because that sounds like it's just a tube for urine, but other stuff comes out of it, like sperm. How come it's not called a spermethra or a semenethra? That's one thing I learned recently, is the difference between semen and sperm. I guess, like, even dogs that have been neutered can still, like, ejaculate, or, like, semen can come out, but there's just no sperm in it because sperm is made by your testicles. So even if you've been neutered or castrated, I guess you could still, semen can still come out, which I didn't know. It's kind of crazy. Wonder where that liquid comes from. I always imagine, like, your balls are holding all that stuff in there. But maybe it's not just from there. Maybe there's other parts of your body that produce that liquid. I don't know enough about it. I guess I should read up on it. But this made me also think about wearing boxer shorts, because they provide almost no support at all for your balls. And a lot of guys, I think, pretty much wear boxers all the time. So it's almost like the male equivalent of going braless all the time. And the older you get, the more the effects of gravity become apparent, with your balls. And they get saggier. And I think at some point a lot of guys learned that, older guys, like middle-aged or older, and their balls have reached a certain level of sagginess, they learn that they have to be careful when they sit down so they don't smack their balls really hard on a chair, because that's painful. And yeah, it's something you got to be really careful about when you sit down, because you might not even notice at first, but then later it's painful, and then you might not even realize what's causing it, and then one day you'll realize that that's what's causing it. But I was wondering if it's better for a guy to wear some supportive underwear, like boxer briefs or briefs, or even a thong. I guess a thong that has enough material in the front to cover your balls completely. Because if they just hang out the sides and sag down, then I guess the thong wouldn't be very supportive in that case. I wonder if they make a thong type underwear where it's like split in two so that you have a little strip of material supporting each ball, but then in the middle it's open, like it's exposed, so you can see the middle part of the balls. That'd be a really funny looking pair of underwear. But I was wondering, is that something guys should think about more? Like, they don't really talk about it. I've never really heard people talking about it that much. Like, men need to wear supportive underwear as they get older. Maybe they should. Maybe it would help with the ball sagging. I don't know really what the numbers are for like boxers versus other kinds of underwear that support your nuts better. I mean, do most guys not wear boxers? They seem pretty popular to me. They're very comfortable, but they are very lacking in the support department. I mean, I've pretty much only worn boxers since high school. I mean, there have been some times where I've tried other kinds of underwear, but I didn't like them as much. They weren't as comfortable. But I'm thinking maybe for, support purposes, maybe I should try some other stuff. Is it kind of like if a woman never wore a bra since high school, would that not be very good anatomically? I don't know. Is that a thing that women have to worry about? Or does it matter? If it provides support, is it just for while you have it on, but it's not really helping with the general wear and tear and sagging that comes with time? I'm not sure if it makes a difference. If anyone out there knows, please let me know. You could message me, because I really want to know. Maybe I should change up my wardrobe a little bit in that department. And another clothing-related item I was really thinking about recently is yoga pants. And I was wondering why they're so tight. I mean, do you have to wear tight pants when you do yoga for some reason? Does it make it easier to do your poses and stretches that way? It seems like you could do them in baggy clothing, couldn't you? Or would the material kind of get in the way? Maybe when you're like sort of contorting yourself and like, I don't know, in all kinds of positions on the ground or on the floor. Maybe if you wear baggy clothes, they get kind of in the way of yourself a little bit. But it seems like it would also be pretty comfortable. And it's weird how wearing yoga pants has become sort of a fashion. That it's just like something you wear all the time outside. Like, it's so popular among women these days. Like, of all ages, it seems like from very young to very old, I see a lot of women wearing yoga style pants. How come there are no like yoga shorts or a yoga skirt or a yoga dress or just different, bagginesses of yoga pants? I wonder if it's kind of like Halloween and an excuse for some people to just wear revealing clothing. Yeah, well, it's also popular in other forms of exercise too. It seems like just fitness people in general really like wearing tights. At least, generally speaking, it's mostly females. It seems like. I don't think the tights trend has really caught on with men. Like men who go to the gym a lot, what do they wear? Do they wear? I don't think they wear tight pants like that, do they? Probably wear sweatpants or shorts. But that's another thing that I had a question about, and if anyone knows the answer, please comment and let me know. Just kind of, it's sort of a curious thing, and it's such a trend now and it wasn't even like, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, it wasn't as big of a trend. It seemed like people were used to wear a lot more jeans around that time, and then suddenly everyone started wearing like workout clothing all the time. It's just general streetwear. And big butts have become really popular too. There was the whole Sir Mix-a-Lot video like 20 or 30 years ago at this point, talking about big butts. And it was mostly like, seemed like it was mostly in the African American community, maybe the Hispanic community, that they really like big butts. But now it's become a thing where it's popular among all races. And a lot of women are working out to make their butts bigger or more shapely or toned or whatever. Yeah, and it seems like that trend has come along at the same time as wearing tight pants. I guess if you've been putting in all that work to shape your butt, then you want to show it off, right? Maybe that's part of the reason for it. But then wouldn't the same apply to men who are in the gym all the time? I guess they're mostly interested in showing off their upper body, right? With men, it's like, look at my pecs and my biceps and my triceps and my lats and my obliques and my abs and my back muscles and, I don't know, my neck muscles, I guess, and my shoulders. But you don't really see men wanting to show off like the leg work they've been putting in, right? But can you tell I've been doing squats? Look at these tights I'm wearing. You don't really see a whole lot of that. I bet guys do want to show it off though, but it's just not as socially acceptable for a guy to wear tights as like everyday clothing. It's mostly guys who are like in the theater or in dance who wear pants like that, or maybe figure skating. I wonder if there'll come a day though when more men are wearing tights outside. It's going to be kind of wild because you're going to be able to see their junk really well. And that's going to be pretty lewd too. I mean, it's going to be almost to the point where they might as well be naked, right? You could see the total shape of their penis and balls, because if their pants are tight enough, that's pretty much what happens. I mean, I've noticed that with like NFL players. Like, you could see like everything. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I don't think that's normal yet for dudes. Well, there was a time about 15, 20 years ago where really tight pants were popular for guys. And that was pretty close, but even then it was denim, and denim is like a stronger like fabric that's it doesn't really conform to your body quite as much as like tights do, like spandex or lycra, whatever those kind of tights are made out of. So I mean, you could still kind of make out, a silhouette of a dude's butt or his dick and balls, but you couldn't really. It's not as obvious as with tights. How come it's cool to have, like, I think it's pretty cool for a guy, or it's considered pretty manly, right? For a guy to have a really furry chest or a really hairy chest. It's considered like extremely masculine and virile, right? I think a lot of women like that. I'm sure a lot of women like a smoother look, but there's also a lot of women who really like that hairy chest. But how come it's cool to have a really hairy chest but not like have really long nose hairs. Because aren't long nose hairs also a sign of maturity and virility? But if you don't groom those, or if you don't cut them, it's just considered a sign of bad grooming. And it's not considered a sign of like manliness or coolness, the way chest hair is. But there's a lot of weird body hair things like that. Like you can grow out your facial hair, right? And that's considered pretty cool for a lot of guys. But if you grow out your pubes, around your private parts, it's not considered very cool. At least not these days. I think the trend is to shave it all off. So why is it so much cooler to have facial pubic hair but not the pubic hair down there? Oh yeah, I was also thinking like chest hair used to be popular, at least at some point, for some people. But I was wondering if that's still the case. So you have guys who have a really bushy chest, and then are they shaving all their pubic hair down below? So it's cool to have like a really hairy chest, but then you want to be really clean shaven down there? That's kind of weird. Or is it cool to be clean shaven all over? I guess I don't know enough about this. But it's, it seems kind of arbitrary and selective. Like, it's cool to have hair on these parts of your body, but not these parts of your body. Like, you want to have a really nice head of hair, and eyebrows, and a mustache. But not nose hairs, and pubic hairs, and, I don't know, butt hairs. Who decides all this stuff? I guess society, because it decides it, right? Or beauty standards. But it's weird how we all come to a consensus on these things, kind of. It's not like there's a big meeting where everyone's like, okay, check out this PowerPoint about which body hair is cool to have and which is not. And then everyone agrees to it. It just sort of happens organically. There's no discussion about it or anything. Everyone just sort of comes to the same opinion about it. Or mostly the same opinion. It's not like literally everyone has the exact same opinion, but there are just overall big trends in society for a certain look. I don't think it's ever been really considered cool to have like a really hairy butthole though, and butt crack. Even if the rest of your body's like super hairy. So I guess you'd have to get inside of there waxed. I mean, if you're a pretty hairy dude who has a lot of chest and back hair and probably butt hair, I guess you want to wax in that area. I don't know. Or maybe not. Maybe it would be weird to just have that one strip really clean and bald, and then super hairy everywhere else. I think a lot of times too, people decide that whatever kind of body hair they have is cool, so everyone else should have it too, right? Like, so guys who are really bald on their heads, they're like, this is actually really manly and women find it very attractive. And then all the guys with the full head of hair are like, women would like a nice head of hair, they don't like a bald guy. I think a lot of times that's what's happening too, is whatever is true of themselves, people project on everyone else and they're like, that's what everyone should look like. Like if you're a thick person, you're like, yeah, thick is what's sexy. And if you're a skinny person, you say skinny is what's sexy. And if you're average build, then you say, this is actually perfect. This is right in the middle. This is what everyone wants and what most people look like. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.